Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to week 20 of your SAT Math Prep. This week's video will be covering equivalent expressions and factoring. Again, please make sure that your name is clearly printed on your guided notes and that you have clearly circled your teacher's name and your class that you are in. Everyone listening to this video should be a member of an Honors Algebra 2 class. So we're going to go through several factoring examples. These are all medium to hard level examples from SAT Prep. We will discuss the various details that make them medium to hard. And then hopefully that'll give you the leg up that you need to complete our skill check later on when we get there. And we'll discuss that more when we get there. So, example 1 says, when the given expression below is rewritten in the form x plus a times x plus b, where a and b are constants and a is greater than b, what is the value of a minus b? So to put it in this equivalent form, x plus a times x plus b, we need to factor the expression. So we're looking for a pair of numbers that multiplies to 5 and adds to 6. Everyone in here should be able to correctly identify that those values are 5 and 1. So if we look at that as compared to the expression in the problem, x plus a, x plus b, we should see that since 5 is greater than 1 and a is greater than b, that a is 5 and b is 1. Then we actually have to answer the question that was asked. The question that was asked is, what was the value of a minus b? Well, a minus b is 5 minus 1. So your answer should be C, 4. Second problem, the second example says the expression ax squared plus abx is equivalent to 3x times the quantity 2x plus 10 for some constants a and b. What is the value of b? So what we need to do is basically work backwards. We need to take the equivalent expression and distribute the 3x. That would give us 6x squared plus 30x. Then we need to compare that to the expression ax squared plus abx. Hopefully we would then immediately realize that a equals 6. And plug that in right there for this a. So then we would say, all right, well, if a is 6, and I've got 30 here and a times b here, since a is 6, 6 times b has to equal 30. Divide by 6, and we get the value of b has to be 5. So b is 5. So there's two good expressions of medium difficulty that are SAT style questions. Again, the reason they're considered medium difficulty is because of the heavy notation. The a and the b being both constant but abstract, and the fact that a is greater than b, meaning that you have to differentiate that a is the larger of the two answers, makes the first one a medium level difficulty question. And in example 2, the realization that a is 6, leading to the equation 6b equals 30 is the reason why that is considered a medium level difficulty question. So let's move on to the next two. The last two, I should say. Example 3 says, when the given expression is rewritten in the form ax plus b times x plus c, where a, b, and c are constants, what is the value of a minus b plus c? So again, we should see this trinomial, we should see this other format, and we should know that we are supposed to factor this trinomial. So when we factor that, we are going to need to come up with a pair of numbers that multiplies to a times c. So we're going to do a times c. 3 times 7 is 21. We need a pair of numbers that multiplies to 21 and adds to 10. So our numbers that multiply to 21 are relatively limited. There's only two pairs. Of those two pairs, only one adds to 10, 3 and 7. So what we're going to do is we're going to split that 10x into a 3x and a 7x. The other two terms are going to remain the same. So our trinomial will become a 4-term polynomial, 3x squared plus 3x plus 7x plus 7. And then we're going to factor that by grouping. So we group the first two terms, we group the last two terms, and we factor out the greatest common factors. So from the first set of parentheses, we can factor out a 3x, which leaves x plus 1. From the second set of parentheses, we can factor out a 7, which leaves x plus 1. That means that we're now looking at a binomial with a common factor of x plus 1. So we're going to factor that x plus 1 out as well, which leaves us with two binomial factors, what is in front of the parentheses, 3x plus 7, and what is inside the parentheses, x plus 1. Once again, we should be able to compare this to the format from the problem and realize that that gives us the values of a, which has to be 3, b, which has to be 7, and c, which has to be 1. Okay, look here. If you don't believe me, look right here. A is 3, b is 7, c is 1. So then we have to actually answer the question that is being asked in the problem, which is, what is the value of a minus b plus c? A minus b plus c would be 3 minus 7 plus 1. That is negative 4 plus 1, or negative 3. Finally, example 4 says the area of a rectangular garden can be represented by the expression x squared minus 5x plus 6. Which of the following expressions could represent the perimeter of this garden? So we have an area of x squared minus 5x plus 6. Now, area is length times width. So what we need to realize is that if we factor this trinomial into two binomials, two numbers that multiply to 6 and add to negative 5 would be negative 2 and negative 3. What we have done is come up with expressions for the length and the width of the garden. Because those are the length and the width, we can actually copy them over to the other sides of the rectangular garden, which allows us to then find the perimeter. The perimeter would be x minus 3 plus x minus 2 plus x minus 3 plus x minus 2. We would add up the four sides of our rectangular garden. So the perimeter would be 4x minus 10 units. 4x minus 10 units is example D. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so there's 4 good examples of factoring problems we could potentially see on the SAT. Something you need to understand is that all of these examples are just that. They are examples. And there's no predicting exactly what you're going to see on the SAT. What we are trying to do is get you to understand the way that you are supposed to think about problems, the way you are supposed to approach problems, and we are trying to eliminate issues that arise from things like not paying attention to detail, not reading directions, and not answering the question that was asked. So at this point, we are going to go to Google Classroom, and we are going to join the Google Classroom for the remainder of the year's SAT prep for plug time. That code is LQTBCPV, which is currently being shown on the screen and is also available through your proctor. When you join that class, you will find that under classwork there is a Quiz-Is assignment for the week of March 7th, 2022. That assignment is to be completed to prove that you've paid attention in your SAT prep plug time this week. Thank you very much for your time and attention.